Hi, Grace.
Hello. I'm gonna make you the host.
Okay, so I can share screens?
Yeah.
Yay. I'm practiced that earlier today. I think I'm better at it, though I'm not convinced of that. So we'll see.
I'm gonna turn off my video while I eat some food.
Okay. Mhm. Hmm. Mhm. Hmm. Oh, not. Hey, Fred.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh, I gotta turn that light off.
You see that I added Dan Lass as threatened?
I did see that, yes.
Whoops. I sent him an email explaining that I was using him as a test case to see what was going on at UMass. They were still rejecting MailChimp, and asked him to forward any town announcements that he gets, so we can see what gets through and who it appears to come from in either garb. So
Okay.
we'll
Yeah,
see.
good. We might not need all that stuff.
Well, let's wait for Jamie. So what you got blooming in your yard, Grace?
Right now it's still just the crocuses coming up.
Yeah, huddled against the cold.
Not
Winter,
quite there yet.
In the winter, I can get a pretty fair estimate of the temperature by watching the rhodie leaves curl. And in the spring, it's watching how tight are the crocuses.
What is, I have these. Whoa, how is my? I didn't look.
Oh,
and see.
snowdrops.
Is that what those are?
Yeah, nice.
They do that?
Yep.
Okay.
They're-
They're volunteers. I don't know where they came from.
And they come early, which is a nice sign of things coming on.
That's all we've got. Hmm.
Thank you for opening us up, Grace.
No problem.
Good. There we go. Hi, Jamie.
Hello,
Hello.
Welcome aboard.
I'm a few minutes late.
That's okay. We all have lives. So I'm going to open the meeting. It is officially 7:03. And as before, I'm going to take minutes and then at the end of the meeting, pass them by you to revise, amend, delete, subtract, whatever. Okay?
Yep.
All right. It's helpful to me just because in setting up a lot of the agenda is reporting in. So it helps me just to get it's a dry lab basically on the minutes, so I can put it in place. So the first item on the agenda
We
is,
have to start with a roll call.
oh, would you each please identify yourselves for the roll? I'm Gail Fleischaker, Chair.
Jamie Malcolm Brown here.
Fred Steinberg.
Grace Spanish.
Okie dokie, thank you. And note that we are being recorded. Thank you, Grace. The first item on the agenda was the question of whether or not we want to change to tiny letter for the town announcements. And at the end of the last meeting, it was determined that we needed to know more about the confirmation process internal to tiny letter, what was required. So a recap for those of the folks who are authorized to send on their own, town administrator, town clerk, library, and blah, blah, blah. They, under tiny letter system, they would have to send an email that would be confirmed to the web committee. They would not receive confirmation of the email itself. Unlike the current situation where in MailChimp, they get the return of what they've sent, asked to say, yes, this is correct or not, and then actually send it out. To me, this presents a real problem because in the past, we've had problems with folks trying to send out, or thinking they've sent out an announcement, and turns out that it hasn't been sent. How come? And with in MailChimp, you can go back and see how it's been addressed and so forth and so on. But in the system, under tiny letter, we, the confirmers, would not know an email has been sent, and they, the sender, would not know it didn't go.
Well, that's not quite correct. We would, when one of the approved persons sends their email in, Tiny Letter will send a message to the owner of the account, web@shutesbury.org, for instance, and say, somebody has submitted this, do you approve it? But the issue there is that we would still have to approve it.
But there would be an alert sent.
Yeah, there's an email sent.
I see, I missed that somehow. Okay,
Yeah, we talked about it last time in that it was thought to be suboptimal to have the committee approve every message that's sent.
say it again, please.
The problem with that is that the web committee would have to approve every message, even if somebody's already.
Even if it's a pro forma, right, okay. So let me correct what I had. Okay.
So it kind of sounds to me like tiny letter isn't the right tool for us. And we should keep looking at options.
Well, and I would wonder if we need options. Is there great dissatisfaction with the system we have in MailChimp? There was at the beginning, because as Fred reported, people didn't know how to do what they wanted to do or how to get it done. There were too many choices, options, blah, blah, it wasn't clear. But our usual users are now seemingly having no problems. Is that true, Fred?
As far as I know, yeah.
I still hear a lot of complaints about people not getting every email or emails going to spam.
No,
That's not a MailChimp thing.
That's
Yeah.
That's going to be a problem no matter what system we use.
Yeah.
say it again, please.
That's going to be a problem no matter what email system we use.
Yeah, okay. Well, and Tiny Letter is a MailChimp offspring, so. Okay, so Tiny Letter, let me finish this. Tiny Letter alerts. So the sender sends in an email, tiny letter says, hey, you guys, web committee, an announcement has been sent.
Right,
And the web committee must then confirm that.
correct.
Is that correct? Okay. So that's a required procedure. Okay. So the question is, do we need or want to choose not just tiny letter, but an alternate sender? Is that correct? Vendor for sending?
Yeah, there's no pressing need as far as I
Yeah.
can tell.
And we do have pressing things on our plate.
This is true. So can I hear a vote or a motion rather to, at least for the moment, to leave town announcements as they are in MailChimp, managed as they are in MailChimp?
I motion that we, for the moment, leave the town announce system as it is.
I second.
You got it.
All in favor, say aye.
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 And those opposed? Okay. Okay, that's current. Okay. Then the next thing on the agenda is to revisit the town announcement policy, which if I can do it, I will bring up. Do you see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Yay! I'm learning. So the date at the top will be officially the date that it's approved by the select board. So that's a placeholder. My question for you, Grace, is whether that sentence we had in from at least 2 revisions back, that list, meaning the town announcements subscription list, is subject to the Massachusetts Public Record Law and is available to anyone who requests it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one.
Okay. The list itself as distinct from the contents of the messages.
No, yes, I understand.
Okay,
And I'm gonna double check before I answer.
okay. But we can go ahead and look at the rest of the announcement policy and see where we stand. What I changed is I brought this next sentence, it is recommended that be used for up from uses into the purpose. Then guidelines are left as they are, from guidelines rather. So guidelines are really how to do this. What the town announcement must or cannot include. And I've added a personal email address because that came up as a specific hurdle a couple of announcements ago. Then use of the town announcement list is as it was, except that I have changed the word. No, it's okay there. Sending messages directly is authorized rather than approved town officials. And specified here in requesting that a message be sent, that the committee chair reviews the message for form against the guidelines, nothing else. And sends it on. And I think this makes a little more clear the process of somebody who wants the web committee to actually send the message on their behalf. It was not so clear before. I think this is a bit more clear.
Yeah,
So if request for town announcement is in the email subject, it's an alert when it shows up that something needs to be done. It's not just to be assumed that this is an announcement. That was the hassle we had before. Then questions and issues and complaints is as we had it before. Any suggestions for amendments or changes, substitutions?
Well, the only thing was at the very first item that was still to be decided, that highlighted part. It's not clear, at least to me, that you're talking about the list of email addresses.
Subscribers to the town announcements list, that list of subscribers, should I say?
Yeah. Something like
Okay.
that.
Sure. Uh-huh. That's clear. That's good. Okay. And you'll investigate that one and let us know, Jane, Grace?
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
There are nuances, so
Oh, yeah.
I'll talk to somebody who really knows their stuff and get back to everybody. But other than that, it's looking good to me.
Yep, I agree.
I think it's getting clearer and tighter.
Mhm.
Good. Okay. So this will be one last pass.
Yeah, and it's an important one because
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, we need to know for sure if those emails are going to be public records or not. Yeah.
And people need to be informed if they are.
Yeah.
And otherwise we scratch that sentence.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'll be ready to report back at how? Would it be possible?
If
for instance-
I'll probably end up with a reference material that explains
I'm
it.
sorry.
I'm probably going to end up with either a statute or a guidance or a memo or something that explains
Okay.
it. So that's a material and I can share it with the group and we can discuss it at the next meeting.
Or if it says yes or no, that I simply amend this accordingly and take it to the select board. Without a meeting, without having to involve us in another meeting. Would that pass inspection for open meeting law?
For open meeting law, yeah, I think so.
Okay. So you'll report back to the committee.
I'll share the public record information that I find. My email is also a public record, so
Right, okay, there you go.
there we go.
Okay, and then once that is made clear, I will amend this in that one sentence only. Either include it or delete it. And then take this as an approved policy to the select board for their approval. Does that work?
Mhm.
Okay. Yay. Okay, moving right along. If I can unshare this. Oh, yes. Okay. Next on the agenda is the matter of amending the number of, well, determining the number of Gmail org addresses that we need. And updating our Google account accordingly. So I will share the list I sent you earlier. Let's see if I can reduce that. So here are all the departments and officials needed. Here are the committees and boards that are needed. And the Cultural Council is included here, yes, as needing a web, an org address, but they do not have a web page. So this is not a link. These others are all links to the web pages. The Town Buildings Committee does not have an org email address and should have one. So that would be added. Water Resources Committee is not all that active, but they have signed up for some of the action items in the current open space and recreation plan. So for formal reasons, they need to have an org email address. So that's 16 plus 21 plus 3 for the individual select board members, each who needs an individual org email address. And that tallies up to 40 as a minimum number of licenses needed. And Becky has okayed this list, and none of you has made complaints, and Fred has made clear that we did not need that forwarding address. We can finesse that another way.
Is it possible to add any if we need more, or are we locked in?
This would be for a 3-year contract. And if we needed to add, so these are for licenses.
Yeah.
If we needed to add an address, we'd have to take one of these out. Water Resources is a natural to come out if we need it, a place. But once we cite the number at the beginning of the contract, we're stuck with that for 3 years. On the other hand, if we add an extra now, just to be safe, we're going to have to pay for it, whether it's inhabited or not.
Mhm.
I think we're better off asking for extra and paying for it.
That's what-
Because the position we're in now, where we can't give people email addresses, is not working.
Who would need one that we can't give to?
All of the individual committee members,
Oh, there's no way.
except that people should be using designated accounts for government business, and they
Right.
don't because it's a lot of extra work for some people creating a new email account or creating any email account. Or I mean, people say, I will do it if you provide the email account,
They
but I'm
can
not
use the-
going to do it on my own.
They can use the committee email account. That's what it's for.
Some people don't want to deal with that either.
Right. Like
But
in our situation, like we all don't have accounts, so our emails that we're using are subject to the open law, right? So
Right.
at any time, somebody could request to go into my email account to look at emails I sent, which isn't a great practice. I know, Fred, at some point you said we should have people just create Gmail accounts like Jamie Shutesbury Web Committee at gmail.com or something like that.
Right.
And that
Yeah,
might be a better way to do it.
well,
for-
it's written up, it's on a policy, it's on the website. I have
Yeah.
it linked on all my pages. I have a printout. I suggest it when I swear people in. People fight me on it. Like they are very, very resistant. If
To,
we
to
had-
what? To what? I'm sorry.
to having their own
We having another email.
personal independent email account. People want to use the email account that they're used to using, or they want to be provided an email account.
Well, we could provide them that email account at gmail.com. So,
Right.
John Doe Shutesbury at gmail.com instead of John Doe at Shutesbury.org. I mean, if the
We
problem is-
could, that's not a very secure strategy.
secure.
Like, as in, if you're looking at an email and trying to figure out if it's a phishing email and it's telling you it comes from a government official and it ends in gmail.org, that's usually a pretty, or gmail.com, that's usually a pretty good sign that it's a phishing email, not from a legitimate government account.
But the point here is that the org emails are official committee business. So anybody,
All emails you send that are about your government work are public records.
okay, and the committee business, public records, should go through the committee email. It's up to the chair to give folks on the committee the access to the email, just give them the password. They cannot be, they should not be conducting committee business on their personal email.
I agree. We will be closer to making that a reality if we can provide people Shutesbury emails.
That's a different issue.
No, it's very connected. People are going to keep using their personal emails as long as we can't provide that.
But that's not a reason to add more org emails. They wouldn't be org emails. An individual is not an org.
But they're
Well,
members of.
yeah.
Select board members are specifically set aside in that regard.
Well, I mean, it's clear if these were free, we could give everybody their own Shutesbury.org email.
Yeah.
Right. And it would make sense to do so.
Right. So yeah, the question boils down to how much do you want to spend? So it's $36 per person per year.
Yeah. So I don't think we can afford to give everyone, but I do think that it's a good idea to give us buffer because we don't know what'll happen in the
Right.
coming years. We might have more staff. Departments might get smaller, but they might get bigger. We might have a greater need. And if we're stuck with this number for 3 years, that could really limit us.
Right.
So we don't want to go for the minimum, is what I'm saying.
I agree with that. Yeah.
How do you agree? How do you derive our order then?
But we need to think about, how many extra we think is appropriate. That's all. That's another issue.
Let me back up a minute and ask, why do you think somebody who is resistant to using their own individual Gmail account, Shutesbury Gmail, is going to be any different about using an org email?
They won't. I mean, people will still not use it, but barring that issue altogether, we're going to need some buffer in any case, because what if a new committee is formed, which happens? They're going to need an email. So it's clear we're going to need some kind of buffer above the bare minimum. And I think the question is,
Okay. Yeah, this is the minimum.
So I don't,
So when we have new select board members, do we change, do they get the previous select board members'
Yes,
email account?
Yep.
Okay, so those only count as 3.
the license, yeah, so the license is for the, is not a slot. The license, I mean, the license is simply a slot, not a name. So when somebody comes off the select board, their name comes off that license, somebody else goes on it. And then we have to store that deactivated account. So you're saying that we should add how many?
well, that's the question. I don't know if
Yeah, that
it's-
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And when you were talking with Google about this, is it only that we can't add people for this $3 license, but we could add them at the going rate, which was like what, 6 or I don't remember what.
The $6 per license per month is for a different kind of arrangements called, and it gets 2 terabyte. We don't need that at all. These are for 30 megabytes
Mhm.
accounts, storages. And we're not close to 2 on most of these. Some of them are approaching 15, one is over 15.
You said megabytes, but I assume you mean gigabytes, correct?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, sorry. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely,
I think storage is not the issue, it's the number of,
well,
actual
storage is an
addresses.
issue for the town clerk and the town administrator.
but you get 30 in the new alignment. And these accounts have been in place since 2013 and are just now getting to 15 gigabytes. So
Well, like Becky's account hits capacity like twice a year.
excuse me, it has to be what?
Becky's account hits capacity about twice a year. And stuff has to be, a lot of stuff has to be moved off of it.
What's your
And
capacity now?
It can't be moved off. How can it be moved off the account?
You can delete old documents and images.
Yeah, you download it, it's all saved, but it's not on the.
It could be moved off her computer, but it's still going to be in the Google storage account.
no, you can archive things, download it, and then like clean up your account that way. But it's not an easy task to do, and it takes a while.
Okay,
I'm not sure if this version of what Google is offering us allows this, but I run a nonprofit email system through Google, and individually we can upgrade their space to like 100 gigabytes for $2 a month. So that could be a question we could ask them, like if individuals can upgrade their space if needed.
I got a definite no on that.
Oh,
And-
really?
But, I was asking
That's less than ideal.
to have to be doing that.
No, to not be able to upgrade our space if needed.
Right. I would invite you, Jamie, to talk with this guy. My sense is that this is a new salesman for Google. There was somebody on the line at all times who did not enter in, but every once in a while, Connor would take off and go ask somebody something and come back. And both in person, well, in the Zoom meeting and in emails, he would come back with a different answer from what he said first. So it may be that he's not He would say, his supervisor says, blah, blah, blah. But if you can provide counter examples of arrangements that are made elsewhere, that would be ideal.
Yeah, maybe you can pass his information to me and I can
Yep,
try asking.
yep. I will do that.
Becky and I have been talking about hiring IT to help us through this transition. And I think that's a very good idea. And the process would be the web committee would write a scope of work.
Oh,
And we
wait. This is not about signing up for org emails though, right? You're talking about archiving
I'm not sure what you mean by signing up for org emails.
with Google, our contract with Google for X numbers of licenses.
About solving the email problem.
Yeah. It's about solving the email problem, but also, I mean, I still haven't been able to figure out, still haven't gotten clarity on, I mean, Google's got to have government.
They would not let us, they would not let us go there. That's what I tried first.
Why wouldn't they let us go there?
Because they could not make any deals.
So, yeah.
And they sent us back to business.
So I mean, there's like separate tracks of stuff.
Categories, I agree.
I'm just not sure I'm not sure this is the best choice for us.
Yeah.
And I think that someone who has experience with municipal IT might be much better equipped to make that, or at least
Right.
present us with options and also help us figure out how to actually set this up and do all the work.
Do all the work, meaning,
The clickety clackities. If I knew what I was talking about, I could do it.
In your free time. Yeah.
okay, so Jamie, I will send you Connor's email address. And you can take up with him how we might better be aligned as a municipality rather than a business.
I don't think it's us being aligned as a municipality, as a business. I think
Fine.
it's, does Google have government services?
Right.
I mean, they surely do. They surely do have lots of municipalities as part of their client base. And there are definitely going to be sales reps who specialize in that.
Your experience, Jamie, is with nonprofits.
Yeah.
Okay. So the kinds of plans that are available to nonprofits.
The governments.
To governments.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I looked at the beginning when we started talking about this, and they don't give governments the nonprofit deal that they give nonprofits.
There is if you go to workspace.google.com/industries/government, that's their entry point for their government services. And I mean, the issue is Shutesbury is a government, but we're so tiny that,
Right.
you know,
Well, the first question that I was asked in the very first conversation about how we would get shuttled in Google was as a business, and he asked, is your budget between 30 million and 300 million? And I laughed.
right.
I said, you're talking to the wrong folks here, folks. It's just,
I mean, the problem is any large business is not going to want to bother with any entity the size of us. $2,000 a year. Why would they care to?
yeah. Okay, so your experience, Jamie, is with nonprofits, and you want to parlay that into,
Well, yeah, just to see if the version that you were talking about, the deal with the $3 a month, if it's possible to upgrade individuals from 30 gigabytes to some other option, like they do in the version that I'm used to working with.
okay. Okay, that's good. So let's see, what's Connor's last name? I'll fix this later. Okay, so no decision on this. I will retract I will not send that email to the budget committee. FinCom. Okay. Anything else on that point about org email addresses and licenses?
On the agenda, it said org email addresses required in Google Workspace. Does that mean that if we go with Google, our email addresses have to end in .org?
No,
Okay,
we could use the .gov, like that's the domain is independent of what thing we use.
good. Okay.
It's
wanted
just
to
that
make
it's an organizational email. Yeah. Okay. Okay, next on the agenda is archiving deactivated org emails. And I
This
put
is
a
also
statement,
something we should hire somebody
I've
to
put
do,
in
because
the,
this is going to be a lot of hours.
I put in the minutes an opening statement, basically answering some of Fred's questions as well as yours, Grace. That organizational emails, their message content and attachments constitute public records. As such, they are subject to the Massachusetts Public Record Law, which means they must be permanently stored in a place and form that is immediately accessible to the town's records access officer. In Shutesbury, that's the town clerk. The Shutesbury account has 11 org email addresses to be deactivated and contents permanently stored. And that presents two issues right off the bat. One is, what is a scheme for permanent storage of any emails that we deactivate? That's a long-term question. But the immediate question is, how do we download, deactivate, store the 11 that have to come off our current account? And that's a specific question that we can get to tonight. I don't think we can deal with the long-term storage problem tonight. And that's where your point is, Grace, that somebody be hired to actually take that
Do
on.
that. Yeah, someone recommended microfiche recently. I thought that was a fun idea.
Hilarious. Oh my God, talk about, anyway.
It doesn't
Remember-
deteriorate over
Remember,
time, so it's got that over the floppy disks.
oh dear. Oh, microfiche deteriorates. Have you gone back to any of the early microfiche accounts?
I've
Crooked?
looked at a lot of stuff
On the
at
wheel and
UMass,
going
but
through? Oh, boy. So I have several questions for y'all. There are a whole bunch of online directions for downloading or making a backlog of a backup of email messages. and some of them as PDFs, which would be then easily accessible to you as if somebody asks you for a public record, Grace. But all of them start with being in the email account to download, save, archive, whatever. And my question is, do you think that the 2014 select board members are going to remember their passwords to their accounts?
Well, we can reset those if they're shooting.
Okay, so is there a way to get into all those accounts? Is there an internal universal password?
No, but you can go in and set the password to anything you want.
You
Yeah.
can.
Yeah,
We,
because
yeah, we can.
Yeah,
You-
we're the administrators of all the Shutesbury.org emails.
Aha, okay. So the answer to that question then is the committee, the web committee, one person, who? The Shutesbury.org.
web@shutesbury.org, that email address has access
Aha,
to get to the Google admin section where you can reset any of the passwords.
okay.
And in terms of archiving, the last time I checked, which was not recently, but Google has a, they call it takeout function. That's the term they use, where you can archive all your data by pressing one button, basically, and saying what pieces you want.
And they're taken out in what form?
Well, you can choose. You can download a file of email that can be used in any email program. Standard format, basically. I haven't checked, so there might be other options.
But the objective is to get these into a form that can be accessible to the records clerk.
Well, and it's also, the priority is to make something that will last forever and be accessible to people 20 years and 30 years and 50 years from now, which is
Well,
complicated.
the default format is a plain text file. So at worst, you can look at it in a text editor. But I mean, for permanence, you're not going to want to print it all. So I think that's pretty much the most portable format you could use. But
And
Yeah, where would I put it?
that's, wait. That's two questions later. Would that takeout also include attachments?
I would, yeah, I would think so. Can't say for sure, but I would expect it to.
Okay. So
But no matter what, somebody's gonna have to do it. So
right.
think-
I have, what I discovered the last couple of days is SYS tools software. Do you know anything about SYS tools, SYS tools? They have SYS tools Gmail backup software, which will do the content of the email and attachments as a continuous PDF that can be then delivered anywhere.
I would feel much more comfortable if we hired someone to do that and then they decided which tool they wanted to use to download the emails. Because I see, like Fred said, someone has to actually do this, and
Yep.
it's gonna be significant. And so what we need to do is create a scope of work. So I think one of the things is definitely gonna be downloading the emails, but we don't need to figure out the specific tool right now.
Correct, right. So the question is downloading them in what form?
No, I think the first question is who's going to be responsible for doing that?
I'll send
Or-
a hand in the air if you tell me how to do it.
we hire someone.
We don't, not for this. This is good. This is a temporary thing.
What, why is this temporary? I mean, this, so if it has to be backed up and available, I mean, hiring somebody that knows how to do it properly is probably a good thing to get started with. I mean, maybe we can learn how to do it. but-
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, this is the first time we've ever had to archive our emails in
Right.
the entire history of Shutesbury. We want to make sure we're creating a system that will work and it for the future. It's not definitely not temporary. This is going to be something that probably the town clerk records access officer will be keeping going forward.
okay, but for now, we got to get these off our accounts and downloaded somehow before the end of April. So is there time to find somebody who is qualified to do the long-term?
I don't really understand how the process works. That would be a Becky question, I think.
Jamie, do you know somebody who's capable of this?
No,
Do you know how to find somebody who's capable of this?
What we have to go out to bid. We have to follow the process for hiring for government.
What happens at the end of April?
These accounts have to be, 11 accounts have to be deactivated. They're no longer useful in the going forward in Google Workspace.
I
know,
thought
but
we had till June.
But we have to get them done and downloaded before we can open up the Workspace account, and that has to be done in May. We don't get funded, we don't get billed until July. But these have to be put in place.
Well, I think we're just gonna have to pay for extras then, because it's not enough time to do it properly, I don't think,
Why can't we simply download these?
because it's not simple. I mean, we might be able to, but
right, but if we do it wrong, then we lose all that data.
What does it, doing it wrong mean?
If we download in a format that we figure out isn't compatible with whatever we decide to use to then access it.
Jeez.
Like the problem with the floppy disks. Where that was a very good idea for data storage in the 90s
Yeah,
and early 2000s, and now is completely inaccessible. And that can happen fast.
well, storing the,
Yeah.
downloading them as PDFs isn't going to disappear.
that's not a correct solution. I mean, what if there's a spreadsheet attachment? You can't download that as a PDF. I mean, there's images, there's a, you know, a PDF is not a cure-all.
There
Damn.
might be video.
And it, you know, it's, you know,
Mhm. Okay. So we would have to write a scope of work and put out an RFP.
yeah, I
That's
think,
the stuff I don't really know about.
yeah, I don't think this committee would do that, would we?
No, we'd have to write the scope of work.
I could start working on a draft. I'm pretty sure the Record Storage Advisory Committee had stuff that we can use for a starting point.
Oh, there is such a thing?
There was such a
Oh,
thing.
there was such a thing.
But they're not now.
They were worried about physical storage, though. Do they have
It's all connected.
recommendations for,
I mean, it was definitely part of like, for the field trip stuff, they were looking at what
Okay.
other towns were doing and stuff, so I'll check it out. But like, yeah, it is still, this is still a relatively new problem for us little Western Mass towns.
we'll just have our IT department take care of it then, shall we? Right, okay. So the issue is that we can't simply download
Yeah,
email files.
yeah, it's gonna be complicated. It would be ideal to find somebody who has done something like this before
So we need,
and who is trustworthy and reliable.
so we need first to find the proper procedure. To follow for secure and accurate. What was the word you used, Jamie? About screwing up the data.
I just said about how make sure it's compatible with whatever system we use to access it.
Right.
It's clear to me at least that the tool to use this is Google Takeout, but it's not as simple as one person going in and pressing a button. I mean, somebody needs to be in charge of organizing everything and knowing how it all works. So the actual technical process of doing it is not difficult, but setting up procedures and making sure it's usable in the future is what's difficult.
And in a
Is that what we're looking for? Is someone to use that?
Yes.
A knowledgeable person.
Definitely.
Mhm. And to have them come up with the plan to access it. So if somebody needs to look at an email that we downloaded, how do we actually access that email?
How do we access the email and how do we find and identify the email?
Right, okay, so do that again slowly, please, for my notes. To design a system,
That
Yeah.
allows us to access the record.
well, to download first. Complete data and attachments. With a system that's compatible
I'm going to start again and just describe the big picture, which is we need somebody to design a system that allows us to archive and easily access.
Okay, little by little, design a system that allows us to archive
And easily access
and provide access, easy
record.
access.
to records.
To email records.
Yes, but like you said, there are attachments, so there are going to be other forms of records
Right.
in those
We need to
emails.
stick a historical in there. I guess
Say
records.
it again.
I was going to say historical records, but maybe records by itself is good enough.
Records by itself is good. But yeah, these are historical records. They will be, at least.
But we're looking for something specific to emails, which is a different thing than just,
Yeah,
Archiving.
there's electronic in there.
pardon?
Yeah, stick an electronic record.
Electronic records.
Okay,
Or digital, something.
I guess I'm worried about the form in which emails now sit. Different from Word docs, PDFs, spreadsheets.
Well, that's why we don't need to be specific in this description.
No, but doesn't email formatting present a specific need?
Yes.
Right. What I imagine they would do is they would download it in a format that would allow us to use some other email client that you could connect to that whatever database that email downloaded to, so that we could access it like an email account.
I see, okay.
I'm not 100% sure that's what they would say, but that's
But that's a nice broad stroke. I like that. In a form that's compatible.
I don't think we need to specify that, just as long as it's easily accessible, I think is all that we need. We don't need to get.
I
specific.
agree. Yeah, because I mean, at this point, this is what we're hiring someone to do.
Okay, form is what they're gonna figure out, okay. For recovery, to, you say accessible to. It's accessible, period. Oh, it's with an I, Gale, not an A.
Yeah, we just want to solve the problem if somebody says, I need to see emails from the Conservation Commission from 1998.
Okay,
You laugh, Gail, like people don't regularly ask me for minutes from the conscom from the 90s.
no.
Mhm.
All right, what other questions arise from this then? So an action item then is somebody is going to write a scope of work.
I can get started on some of the record storage stuff, but with the election on and stuff,
Yeah,
I have a lot on my plate already.
that means stuff won't happen until after May. And that's also going to be in Becky's plate too, so.
Yes, but this is important and we need to move fast.
um, Didn't we just describe the scope of work though?
Yeah,
Given this scope of work, are we going to ask Becky to develop an RFP? Are we going to make up an RFP? Have legal counsel?
I don't know. Do you want to, Gail, do you want to talk to Becky about that? About
I
what
think,
makes most
yeah,
sense?
because to see what the proper process is, given that we have a job we want done and we need to find somebody to do it. What's the best process? Okay. So I'm going to say that I'm going to check with Becky to find the proper process
to move forward with going out to bid. Or to move forward with the hiring process.
with a search and hire.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay, done. Huh. The next question I have is where these should be stored, but that's way down the line. That's going to be part of what our knowledgeable person finds, right?
Mhm.
fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Okay, anything else on this topic? Okay, the trick is that to figure out, to purchase the licenses, we have to close these accounts, 11 accounts. And to close those or deactivate those accounts, we need to store them someplace.
Why
In
do we need to
some,
close 11 accounts?
pardon me?
Why do we need to close 11 accounts?
What if we had 11 be our buffer?
Times 36 bucks?
Yeah. $400.
Added to the 1,400 we already have?
That adds for new committees. If there's an assistant, there's going to be an assistant tax collector. There might be an assistant town clerk. There could be an assistant town administrator. We could have, there's definitely room for, we might need more email accounts in the near future. And I think 11 is not an unreasonable number.
So right now we're using 51 accounts.
Free.
Right.
We're using 50. We're using 49.
Okay. So it wouldn't be 11, it'd be,
We have 11 accounts that are no longer needed.
right, but we're only 9 over the 40 that we were planning on getting.
Yeah, I mean, we're already in a position where we're constantly running up against our limit of emails. I don't think it makes sense for us to have less emails than we already have.
So you're suggesting that we purchase well, that'd be safe. We don't have to do anything with those 11. They're not being used, but they could sit there until we have discerned some kind of a process for. Is that where you're going with this?
Yeah, we're not going to have time to archive those emails.
No, we're not. Mhm. I can't do this. If I could see my keyboard, it would help. Not too much to ask the town. Right?
No,
Right. So it's 108 per account over the 3-year contract. So it's not,
Oh. It's,
I mean, what's the alternative? We don't have email?
Right.
I mean, it's $36 per year per account.
yeah, but we're doing a 3-year
3-year
contract.
Right, so that's 100, 108.
Yeah.
I said
Yep.
100, 108. Right. I mean, that's pretty cheap, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a lot more than free, but you know,
We got away with that for a long time.
right, I know. That's that's what makes this seem so much.
yeah.
But yeah, it's not an unreasonable number.
Okay. And these would be each 30 gig storage. Okay. I'm going to go back up here and insert this conversation. Out of order, but no one will mind. Okay. So is that it for this topic? I'm going to check with Becky. Jamie, you're going to deal with Google. Do you know somebody at Google in the Salesforce there?
Nope.
Okay. I'll send you who I've been talking with, but not a lot of promise. Maybe you can tell him that you need somebody else to talk to. Take me to your leader. Next on the agenda is status report from Jamie on the Drupal changes proposed. The committee tag links from personal contact pages.
Yeah, I haven't had much time to get done since the last meeting.
Yeah, okay. Have you had a chance to talk to Willa or sent Willa an email about the other two?
Yeah, I sent her an email and so I should be able to update that pretty soon. I just need to fix something with our account that for some reason it's not letting me upgrade Drupal.
Oh, swell.
We just got out of sync somehow. So once I figure that out, then I should be able to add that CSS that she created pretty easily.
Okay. So you'll be entering is it entering the right term? Adding, entering, inserting?
Adding is good.
Okay. I'll call that a Drupal snag. And then what, is there a deadline on updating Drupal 8 to 9? Is it going to disappear, or do security disappear, or?
Security disappears. And we're already past that deadline.
Oh,
Yay.
and what does that mean? That we're insecure?
Not necessarily. They're not adding new security updates. So if somebody finds a security issue with Drupal 8, they could
Oh.
exploit it, but they would have to attack us specifically. So it's not likely it's going to happen in the next month or two, but we are vulnerable now.
Okay.
But Pantheon is pretty good about blocking lots of attacks in general. So I'm not like afraid.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're not really vulnerable then. Well, that we're not.
We're not likely to be targeted at this point.
Or at least no more likely than we usually are.
Are there any aspects of the update, Jamie, that any of us on the committee can help you with, or is this a one-man job?
I mean, if you know the back end of Drupal, then it could be helpful, but yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Godspeed. Yeah. So, is that just one of those things you just keep slugging away at?
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do it bit by bit, or do you have to get?
No, you can do it bit by bit. I mean, at one point it'll have to be a big chunk of time to make the actual switch.
Yeah.
But in prepping it, I can do it bit by bit. I can do it module by module, making sure it's compatible with 9. And they have like a system that lets me check that. So.
Okay. Chunk. That's an interesting way to spell chunk. I'm going to put these minutes up to share, and we can go through it and can you see that?
Yes.
Yep.
Mhm.
You want to see it from the top, I bet, huh?
We can't see the top, though.
Pardon?
We can't see the beginning.
You cannot see the beginning?
Nope.
Oh, we're
No.
at one.
Interesting. Let me try this again.
That's better.
Any different?
Yes, that's good.
Yes.
I think also in that section, I'm gonna find out if they allow individual accounts to have additional
Uh-huh.
space.
Expansion of, what was the word you used? I'm sorry.
Say if individual accounts can have additional drive space.
And that's where your experience with nonprofits would come into play, right?
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yep.
Mm.
Each site is vulnerable to site may be vulnerable or could be vulnerable. It's not necessarily vulnerable.
Theoretically vulnerable.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Anything else?
I move that we approve these minutes.
Do I hear a second?
A second.
Do I hear an aye? Aye.
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 How about a second, moving a second to close the meeting?
I
Move.
second.
I'll move we close.
Yeah.
All those in favor say aye, 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 aye.
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 We are closing. It is 8:25. Good work,
Thank
you
you,
guys.
everybody.
That was hard and well done.
Yes.
Good
Okay,
work.
okay.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Night. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.